Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Drone Camps channel and subscribing to us. We have tons and tons of new drones all the time on this channel, and we get to look at some really cool stuff, so you should definitely subscribe. So anyway, today we have the Bugs. This is by MJX RC, and what makes this one's cool is it's kind of a compact little miniature drone, but it has brushless motors on here and a pretty substantial battery that comes along with it, a larger 2S battery. And you can also fit a variety of sport cams on here, like the Gopro Hero. You can put an SJ6000 on here. You can put a Zomi camera on, a few various different versions of it. We'll try out the new GoPro 5. Hero 5 and see if that fits. It might not, because it's a little larger than some of the previous GoPros, but we'll give it a shot for you anyway. So let's go ahead and open up the box real quick and we'll let you see what comes along with the Bugs 3. This one is around $100, by the way, so it's a pretty good price point if you're looking for something for a trainer copter. You're just getting into it. Start out with a small one and then you move up to the next copter up. This would be a great next step for you. Okay, cool. Now you can see what's in the box with the Bugs 3. You can see the drone itself. It actually looks pretty cool. It's pretty sleek on the bottom. It has a little battery holder here, and you have something different on this one. You also have the option to put an FPV camera up front along with your underslung camera like your GoPro or Zomi action cam. So that's actually pretty cool. I did hear it move a little bit here. Just want to make sure nothing is loose. You want to go over all of the bolts. Whenever you get a new drone in the mail, make sure you take a screwdriver or an Allen wrench and just go over some of the bolts that are on here, because sometimes from the factory they can be loose. So before I fly any drone, I usually do that with a screwdriver or a tool. Now these are 1806 motors on here, and these are brushless, guys. So if you don't know about brushless are going to be about 5 to 6 times more powerful than these geared motors, these brushed motor. The brushed motor is what we also call like a can motor, like an old school motor. They're not quite as powerful, but this one is going to have plenty of power with these brushless motors. I really like to start seeing more brushless motors on a lot of these cheaper style quads. Around $100 that they can put brushless motors on here makes a huge difference for the way it flies. It handles more wind and just generally has more power and more authority. And that's what you want when you're flying a quadcopter. You want something that's going to respond and not kind of give you a lot of lag during your flight time. So you do have an option to put an FPV camera up front, and that's pretty cool. This one looks like it doesn't have the camera. It looks like it has some kind of little LED up front, and I'm good with that. You also have LEDs on the bottom here, probably front and rear, different color LEDs. I'll find out when I start it up for you. You have your antenna coming out the bottom here with a nice little holder, and there's a little bit of kind of heat shrink around the antenna to give it a little more durability. That's really nice in case you crash. Trees aren't going to break this part right here. And you also have pretty durable feeling landing gear on the bottom. And you also have a set of landing gear that comes along with it that's going to raise it up off the ground. If you want to fly it like this with the FPV camera on the front and fly with your goggles on 5.8, you could probably do that if you get that extra FPV cam with it. I'll put a link down in the description below on the video if you want to add that component to yours. But it looks like it's probably swappable somehow. It probably comes out. Might have to take the top off to pop it out, but you can do that with some Phillips head screwdrivers. It looks like they're Phillips head screws, 4 of them on the very top to take the top off, so that's kind of convenient. I'll go ahead and set this down. We also have those raised landing gear like I was telling you about. You have 4 of those here that you can raise it up and use your GoPro or Zomi cam. Pretty cool. You also have 2 sets of props with it. You have your battery charger here, and this is a balance style charger that's going to plug into the balance lead on this one. Now I also like seeing that they're starting to use these XT30 connectors. These connectors are really nice out in the field. They can handle a good amount of voltage and they won't melt like some of the smaller ones will if you put too much voltage. You're going to start seeing these on brushless motor quadcopters. Now we also have some prop guards in here. Those are optional. If you're a beginner, I definitely suggest using these. And also in the box is a little sort of GoPro, looks like a hard mount. I'm probably going to have to put some kind of foam across the top of this, maybe to give it a little more dampening. Also a tip if you're new to this, if you put a little bit of foam in between the drone and the camera mount, sometimes you can eliminate some of the jello in the video. It'll look like wavy lines in the video, so we'll try to take care of that. Might do a tiny little mod before I take you out on a flight test. Now let's see over here what we have. Also a toolkit, screwdriver, looks like a wrench for putting on your props. And you also have little plastic pieces in here. These are for the end of your sticks on your radio. And the radio is in the very bottom here. Let's go ahead and pull that out for you. Turn the camera down a couple clicks. There we go, so you can see it a little better. And we'll take those sticks and just screw those right onto the end of the transmitter. Sometimes they do that, they take them off for transport, makes it a little easier to send it to you guys. And you have 2 screws that come in that bag also, don't lose that screw. And it's a little Phillips head screw. It's going to go right down through the center of the stick and screw into the radio so they don't fall off. And the radio isn't labeled, which I like to see these radios labeled. It doesn't take too much extra manufacturing effort to label them, so that might be kind of a con, that I'm going to have to label my own radio here. A lot of times I'll just print out a little tiny text and put on there what each button is, and I'll show you that a little bit later during the flight test. So that's what comes along with it. Pretty nice little package for this Bugs, and I really do like the way this looks. So let's go out to the field real quick. Let's do a flight test of the Bugs 3. Pretty cool little drone. Okay guys, I know we said we're gonna go fly, but I gotta show you a couple more things, and this is pretty important if you bought one of these and you're trying to set it up. A couple tips for you guys with your Bugs 3 drone here. Let's talk about this transmitter real quick. The manual shows you inside here which buttons do what, and I'll show you really quickly. Now this red button right here, if you press it, long press it, 1 to 2 seconds, this is going to start the props for you. Make sure you do that outside. Not really an indoor drone, definitely an outdoor drone. The button on the left here, that button, that far but left button, that one's going to be your speed button. So if you short press it, it's going to give you speed control, low and high. And if you long press it, it's actually going to turn the LEDs on and off. So there's 2 functions to this button. Long press LEDs, short press high and low speeds. So change the speed of your drone. Now over on the right hand side, we have 2 other buttons, and this closer one in, that's going to do your 3D flips and rolls. The button over here on the right, which is going to be number 11, that is your photo button. If you short press it, it's going to take a photo, and long press it, it's going to start the video. But that, you have to have the right gimbal for that. For this one, the GoPro, we have to use our GoPro recording button. So you also get some stickers along with it. Now I'm going to show you something about the GoPro Hero 3. I have mine in here. This is a Hero 3 Black inside this case, and it's snapped shut, and there's a little bit of difference in the thickness of this and the GoPro itself, so I'm just kind of sliding back and forth in here. And to alleviate that, I took a little piece of foam and I put it on the very top up here, and when I put the camera mount on and locked it into place, it stays firmly in place. So make sure you take a little tiny piece of foam and put up there. Now what kind of annoys me about this is that there's no hole up here for the record button, so I'm going to have to press record up here before I put the GoPro in. Kind of annoying, and I'll do it, but the next version of this camera mount, I'd like to see a hole up here for GoPro Hero 3s and 4s. That would make it a lot more convenient. Now I'm going to also show you how to bind up your transmitter. If you get this and yours doesn't respond, if it doesn't work with your drone, it might need to be bound to the Bugs drone itself. So the way you do that is you hold down this red button right here, and you turn on the transmitter. You're going to hear it beep a couple times. Now you can let go of that bind button and it's going to blink here on the front. Set that to the side and plug in your drone. You can do this with the props off also, it's a little safer. So go ahead and plug in your drone. Now you heard it beep again and now it's bound. So I can actually see my LEDs are functioning properly in the front there. Now we can try that LED button again, see if that works to turn them on and off. Yeah, now it works. Because earlier it wasn't seeing the transmitter. We can also start and stop the propellers.
All right guys, here we are at the field with the Bugs 3, and let's go ahead and take a flight test of this little guy. I've got my camera on here and it's recording now, so hopefully it'll stay recording. The battery's a little bit low, but we'll go ahead and take off and we'll go through some of those modes for you. Remember I said press and hold the red button here to start the motors up. Okay, we'll go ahead and take off. LEDs look really nice underneath the drone. And I'm still recording, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some quick flying around the field. I am flying line of sight right now, so I'm just gonna kind of take it easy right now and enjoy the way this one flies. It's on brushless motors, so it's 1306, so it does move quite fast and it flies really smooth. Now I really do have to think about the trees that are around me and behind me. I'll go up a little bit higher. It's a really smooth flying drone. Smoother than a lot of them I've flown recently, actually. Seems to be really fast. They do call this one a racer drone on the GearBest website. I don't know if I'd call it a racer drone. But it can kind of double as a trainer. If you wanted to use it as a racing trainer, that would probably be okay. Because you do have that FPV camera you can put on there, and you can use goggles with this one. You can get some of those furry bee goggles. And you can fly this one FPV, like you're sitting in the cockpit. That's actually pretty cool. But I don't have that version. I have just the camera version with that white LED in the front. And we should have enough cool video for you to see the video quality of that gimbal. It's kind of it's not really a gimbal, it's just kind of a hard mount. And I didn't put any foam in between the gimbal or the mount and the frame, so we're gonna just see how it does with the stock setup. No mods or anything special. All I did was add a piece of foam on the inside to make sure that the camera doesn't move around, so the GoPro doesn't move around much. But it is really easy to see that LED way out there. You guys can probably see that coming toward me right now. We're supposed to get a 20-minute flight time on this quad battery. I believe it was a 1600 milliamp, or 16 or 1800, but white in the front and blue LEDs in the rear. It looks really cool. If I long press this button over here on the top left, it should turn the LEDs off. Now they're off. Long press it again and they turn back on. So let's go ahead and press it, light press it, quick press, and now we get an even faster flying mode. So now we're flying in that high rate. See how much more angle it has on it? Really rips around now. I'm probably looking at the ground with the GoPro, but flying much faster. So I'll go up a little higher. This really is a fast drone. If you're flying this line of sight, be careful not to get too far away too quickly, because this one will be kind of hard to see when it gets a little far away because it's all black. Now if you do get way out there and you can't figure out which way is which, I did a previous video on another drone of a technique that shows you guys how to do that. And what you do is spin the drone around on the yaw axis and push with the right stick one direction or the other direction. When you figure out which is, you need to figure out which is the rear of the drone. And when you find out what the rear of the drone is, you can pull back on the stick and bring it back in your general direction. If you don't have return to home, like this one doesn't have return to home on it, that's really a resourceful option for you. So let's go up a little higher and try a 360 flip. There we go, with the GoPro on it. Now let's try one to the right. Now I'll try one to the left. Pretty cool. Hopefully the GoPro is still recording so you guys could see that action. And my button on the far right doesn't do anything because that is the shutter button for the camera. If you had a gimbal and another camera on here like the Wi-Fi setup, you can see the video in real time from your smartphone. That would be pretty cool with the Bugs 3, but this really is a nice flying heli. Or multi-rotor, if you guys want to call it a multi-rotor. Some people prefer to. I say heli because I used to fly helis way back before there were quadcopters, so I still tend to say heli. You'll have to forgive me. I'm pretty aware of my terminology because I have been flying RC since I was a little guy. Wow, this thing really moves. And my transmitter is beeping, so that means that the batteries could be low or the signal might be having an issue. The lights on the drone are beeping, so it could be that the battery's going dead. But you know what, folks? It is super cold outside right now, and this battery could be close to dead already. Even flying it for this short amount of time. When you have a winter flying situation, you're gonna get way less flight time out of your battery. I'm pretty sure I had a full charge. Now, if you do keep flying and you ignore that, you're probably gonna have a drone that falls out of the air at some point because low voltage protection. Just gonna try out this yaw and a little punch out for you real quick before we totally run out of battery. I don't want to go too high because it might drop from all the way up there and smash up my gimbal and my landing gear. But that's really nice. It gives an audio beep on the transmitter and lets you know. Look at that drone in the air. It looks really cool. And X marks the spot. And to turn it off, just use your red button and it should stop the props. There we go, guys. So let's go ahead and unplug the battery. And I thought I had a full charge on it. Maybe I didn't, but I was able to show you guys most of the modes on here, show you how cool it actually flies. And the thing that bugs me is now we have to go inside this case and press the record button to get the GoPro to stop recording. But GoPro recording a GoPro. There you go. See, I'll take this little clip off the side. You have to do the top one first, and then the bottom one has to come down here. And we can take the GoPro out. Almost a dead battery on the GoPro. The cold's really affecting the GoPro battery too. So think about your batteries when you guys go out to do some winter flying. One winter flying tip is to keep your battery in your jacket pocket, to keep this as warm as possible until you go out to do your flight, because cold really affects LiPo batteries a lot, and you're going to decrease your flight time by at least 20%. So we still have snow on the ground here in town, and it's quite cold, but you know what, this is a lot of fun. I really enjoy this quad, so I'm gonna have to give this one 2 thumbs up. I like it a lot. I would like to see a future improvement for this little camera setup, but it works. And I like to play around with the FPV version too. It's super fast out in the field, so super fast and super smooth. Hope you guys enjoyed that footage and that little flight test. I'm Justin Davis. You guys, I will see you on the next one.